So I called Baker and I said, you know, everything here seems to be under control. He said, good, I want you to go down to Miami-Dade. Things down there are really screwed up.
There was going to be shenanigans and mischief. It was likely to be in Miami-Dade, so it made sense to go where it's likely to be stolen.
He had this iconic moment, did Tim Russert on NBC, when he said, it all comes down to Florida, Florida, Florida. He might as well have said, it all comes down to Miami, Miami, Miami.
That was a clip from the new HBO documentary film 537 Votes, which debuts next Wednesday, October 21st on HBO and HBO Max.
It's a high-charge feature that chronicles the political machinations that led to the unprecedented contested outcome of the 2000 presidential election. Director, producer, and lifelong Miamian Billy Corben joins us now. Billy, thanks so much for being with us tonight. Billy, we know how the 2000 saga ended. We lived it, and it all came down to 537 votes. So why this film in this moment 20 years later?
Well, first and foremost, it is the 20th anniversary, of course, of the Florida recount. But second, I think there are a lot of lessons to be learned from what happened specifically down here in Miami-Dade and what we may experience in the next several weeks with this election. So it felt particularly timely.
Hey, Billy, good to see you. The documentary begins with the story of Elian Gonzalez and the political firestorm that grew from that. Why is Elian's story critical, and how was it critical to the 2000 presidential election?
Yeah, 537 votes is really a year in the life of Miami-Dade County, starting in November of 1999, shortly before Elian Gonzalez arrived on the shores of South Florida on Thanksgiving, and goes all the way to the conclusion of the 2000 presidential election, which is nearly Christmas of December of 2000. Speaking of sneak previews of what we may experience here. But really, Elian Gonzalez set the scene because you had a block of super voters in the Cuban exile community who obviously galvanized around this issue. And after the Clinton administration, under the direction of Janet Reno, raided the home of the Miami relatives in Little Havana to reunite the boy with his father and sent him back to Cuba, they declared these Cuban-American voters voto castigo, the revenge vote, which was basically a ballot box fatwa against Al Gore, who, despite the fact that he broke with the Clinton administration and actually supported Elian Gonzalez staying in the United States, it didn't matter. They wanted revenge against the Clinton administration and Janet Reno, and they were going to get it through Al Gore.
In some ways, it feels like one of the strategies of the 2000 playbook is being used again this year with the Republican Party's attempt to align Democrats with socialism and communism. Talk about how it was deployed back in 2000 and what's happening today. I know you just touched on Elian, but what other similarities are you seeing?
Yeah, I think Fernando Mondi says it best in the documentary. And he says Republicans discovered early on that they could weaponize the Cuba issue by using the C word, communist, and labeling, usually falsely, almost always falsely, someone a communist. That kind of demagoguery is very effective amongst Cuban American voters who are devoted voters, in fact, super voters. And so that is a tactic that has been tried and true and employed 20 years ago, just as it is today.
Billy, other themes that emerge in the film, one of them, all politics are local. And number two, a lot of people have been hearing this expression lately, elections have consequences. What do you want people who watch this documentary to really take away from it?
Vote, first and foremost, and not just in presidential elections, but to your point, Goldie, in all elections, down ballot elections, off-year elections, local elections, most importantly, because I think what you discover from 537 votes is our local elected officials and the officials that they in turn appoint to positions and bureaucrats, they have an outsized influence on things like national elections and elections in general. And we need to make sure that we have people that we can trust and good people in those positions. And in order to do that, we need to be more involved in those local elections.
Billy, and just that little teaser we saw Roger Stone, we saw Congressman Diaz-Balart, we saw Rick Sanchez. Who else might we see in this film that will be very familiar to those of us here in South Florida?
Yeah, there's going to be some dangerous drinking games going on HBO next Wednesday for Miamians. I got to tell you, we're considering doing some kind of locals only bingo card, of things you'll see. I mean, I say watch for DJ Khaled, watch for Trina, Watch for Joe Carollo. Watch for Alex Pinellas. There's a lot of kind of only watch for La Careta. There are a lot of classic only in Miami moments that I think people down here will appreciate even more so than the national audience.
Yeah. And watch for those hanging chads, of course, as well. And Billy, I just got to ask you, because of course I follow you on Twitter. You always use the hashtag because Florida. Do you think this election is going to be one of those because Florida moments again?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think the question is, how many Floridas will there be? Meaning, what kind of shenanigans of the like that we saw in 2000 will we see in other states? How many Brooks Brothers riots, like we saw in Miami, where violence and intimidation stopped a Democratic election? How many of those will we see all over the country? I think that's the only question for election night this year.
Billy Corben, thanks as always. Really looking forward to watching this one. Have a great night.
Thanks, Lauren. Thanks, Goldie. Yep.
Again, the HBO documentary film 537 Votes debuts October 21st on HBO and HBO Max.